Hi, how are you today? I'm Amy. I am MEW's ambassador. I'm so happy to be here today with Christian.
Hi there.
Christian, let me introduce Christian. He is former CEO of Watson's China. Christian has a very amazing record of opening 3,000 Watson stores in China, launching 2,000 products under Watson's own brand, and generated more than $3 billion in revenue for Watson's. That is amazing, Christian. How do you do that? This is definitely hyper growth. What do you think?
Well, how do I do that? Sometimes I don't know it myself, but definitively it was hyper growth. I guess people look at the growth rates and how many stores we open, but to be honest, from an entrepreneur, from a CEO perspective, it's not a question on how fast you run. It's a question that in hyper growth, you're always out of resources at any point in time. Potentially you're even out of money. So this is how I define hyper growth.
So I also know that you have launched 2,000 products under Watson's own brand. What is your strategy in introducing these new brands and products?
Yeah.
Like you mostly introduce new foreign brands to China.
Yeah, correct. So when we started in China in 2007, there were not so many foreign brands. And obviously we started to create our own brands because we wanted to give to the customer better products. So when we launch brands, actually, my focus really is about not just creating attention about a product, but creating some stickiness from the beginning. I think that is very, very important. A lot of people forget that these days. I think it's important that any product you launch in China, that it has a lot of integrity. Customers in China are very critical, and it also need to have some brand messages which is easy to explain. So friends can tell their friends without distorting the message. I think what makes a product stick nowadays in China is you need to first really understand what is your addressable market. I always hear this number of people come to me and say, "Oh, Christian, I have a great product. There's 1.3 billion people." And I say, "But who do you want to talk to?" Right? This is the most important thing. And then also for new products, a lot of people bring average products. But the Chinese customer really, really care about functionality and immediate effect, especially on beauty products. They want to feel that it works right away. And then the other question is, so with your product, can you be a leader? Or do you want to follow another brand and just be a number two and be actually very, very successful at less cost? I think that's also important. I think nowadays with social media, I always get confused. I have a daughter, so she's on the phone all the time, sending messages, etc. I think in this digital age, it's very important that a brand has news every day. And then you launch some kind of new product feature at least once a month. So that is very, very important to plan before you go into China. And packaging in China is also extremely important because how do you stand out to your competitors, right? This is another very important aspect. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your insight. So I see that we have a member who wants to raise questions. The first one with Davinia. Hello, Davinia.
Hi there.
It's nice to meet you here.
Nice to meet you.
I read up on your company a bit, and I'm fascinated by how well you've done over the years. I'm a startup company who we've launched in Europe, and we're looking to go into China as well. And I'd love to learn more about your investment portfolio. What do you typically look for in a company to invest in? I think you answered a bit of that just now. And after you've invested in a company, how much operations input do you pitch into the company? Because I think that will be helpful for many startups going into China.
Actually, to be clear, in all the investments I'm doing right now, I only invest my own money at this stage. So that is very, very important to know. So that also means that my time is quite precious, but I'm also quite interested in the investment. So I think what I want to look at when I invest into a company, I don't take any more gambles on founders. I had my fair share of this. So sorry, this may sound a little bit crude, But what I look at is basically deep knowledge of the founder, not just about the product, but actually how to do this. That is extremely important, because ideas nowadays, they don't carry themselves. So ideas evolving, once you're in the market, you have to really, really work hard on your brand, and that's only possible if the founder really has knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
I think professional track record of the founder for me is important, either as a founder, so they should be on the second or third or fourth company, should have exited at least one company successfully. For me, that's important, or should come out of a professional company like P&G or L'Oreal, and have launched already a dozen brands. I think that is very important. I look at the team. People always say team is super important, but at the end, the team does what the founder does. So that's why I spend a lot of time with founder. In the team, it's very important that you have the technical expertise to deliver not just the product now, but to deliver go-to-market, the launch, any tech that is involved, and also any innovation to make sure that how does your product look in 3 or 4 years' time. I always look at how does this look in 3 years' time, because today is already here, already too late, right? The other thing is I like tech edge. Tech edge means that when you have a brand, you have some interesting material that only you know how to make it or where to get it. Or you have maybe some equipment, for example, some, like skincare measuring thing or something like that, that other people don't have. Then the other question is, can we actually get the consumer data through this product, so that we can improve the marketing and become less dependent on all these platforms that are extremely expensive on marketing. So I think that data is very, very important. And the last one, it's very juicy. It's important to look at all these competitors that are doing similar things. And you really need to ask yourself, or I ask when I look at the company, why would these guys be actually better than those that are already in the market? Because once you go to the market, those that are already in the market will take your idea, put it into their product, and they already have a head start.
Yeah.
So I find this often with founders. Sorry, I'm a little bit critical, but you asked me this, and I think I can be best helpful telling you about the things that I got wrong often. Sometimes you think you have something unique, but there's 1,000 other people doing this, just in different colors and versions. And that landscaping, we call it, or benchmarking is super important.
Yeah.
That's a long list, right? Long list.
That's been helpful. I mean, it's so true, because right now we have a product that is unique. We have the tech edge, the packaging, some of the factors that you've mentioned. The barrier of entry, especially to China, might be a bit difficult, because we may have the patents and the trademarks, but in China, we're still a bit worried about that. So we're kind of trying to line up properly before going in as well, exactly for that reason. It's good to know that from your investment point of view, that's what you look for. And,
well, in 2 years, I only have done 2 investments, and they're all tech companies that make a product. So, yeah.
And you did mention you invest in monetary terms only, so just financial. But you have quite a large group of people. Seems like you have a lot of relationships in China. Do you line up those relationships at all?
So what I do is I take big chunks in the company. So I take 20% share at least. And yes, then I make these resources available. I don't make these resources available to other people. I make them available to those investments. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good to know. Thanks very much. I'd love to get in touch with you after this call sometime. Are you based in Hong Kong?
I'm based in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Davinia. Thank you. That's very inspiring. So we have another member who wants to talk to Christian. Justin?
We can hear you.
Hi, Christian.
Hi there.
I recently opened my retail business on online shop. It sells affordable activewear to women, and of course, every business wants to scale, and of course, I want to launch new products. So I just have a question regarding first, how what are the things to keep in mind when you're scaling your business? This is in terms of small businesses, micro to small businesses, and as well as things to keep in mind when launching a new product.
That's a lot of things. That's the whole menu of entrepreneur. I think somebody once gave me some interesting advice about entrepreneurship. Maybe I'll start here. 3 questions. Why this? So why would I do this product? Because very often a product idea comes from myself, but the reason why a product can be in the market or survive in the market is not me, it's everybody else, right? It's customers. So why this? Why this product? Which you answer by benchmarking what is out there, why is it successful, and also look at if you can find some failures. You can learn a lot more from failures than you can from successes, because successes are usually hyped. Bankers talk about it, PR companies, so it's usually the wrong thing. So why this? The second question is why now? So is this actually a good time to come out with this idea or this product? Do I have competitors against me now? Do I get a head start? Head start can be a good thing, but it can also mean that you're the first in the market, your customer doesn't understand you. I actually quite like number 2s and number 3s because there is a big company like Amazon, right? Hard to copy. But if you can be the second Amazon, maybe it's doable. Yeah. So the question of timing is extremely important. Timing is more important than, I would say, capability. Capability is important when there's something there that works and you need to scale it. But to go out and be successful, timing is the most important. And the third one, why me? So what makes you qualified except that you have an idea to do this? Yeah. Am I the social media spokesperson with 7 million followers? And then maybe I can come out with something that fits to me and then customer will believe it. It's one way, right? Do I have a capability because I know my best friend is working in the purchasing department of Walmart, so they will give me a first order. It's always good to be entrepreneur when you have an order in your hands. The other one is actually, am I a leader? Can I raise money for this idea further down the road? Because some ideas get off the ground, then they don't find the money, the whole thing shuts down again. Yeah. So ask yourself these 3 questions and take your time. Give yourself a few weeks to ponder about it. It's basically, what is, why now, and when.
Yes, and actually, I'm very I'm one of the things that I really like to do is to know. Since you mentioned that we should be not just looking at success but also failures, it actually leads me to my third question, which is what is the number one indicator that you think small to micro to small businesses an indicator of a business is going to fail, and how do they avoid it?
I think whenever you have a chance to test something without investing, that is a good thing. So to the colleague before who talked about China, just do a bit of cross-border from another market and read those numbers. I think is one way. That's why, I mean, one advantage with these sort of social brands is you can already measure the success by giving a message out to consumers or existing followers. But otherwise, I tell you, in Watsons, we have 3,000 stores. We launch every year hundreds and hundreds of own-brand products. And we have data, so I have consumer data. I know who buys what, where, when. And failure rate is still 25%. So imagine if you don't have all this network, and I have my first order because my stores will order, of course. The failure rate is by far over 80% is my guess. 1 in 5 will get through, but I think it's actually worse. And under normal circumstances, I think with COVID, it's even worse, unless you have really a product that fits into COVID.
I understand. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Christian.
Welcome.
Thank you, Justin. So I would like to, for members, if you have any questions for Christian, please feel free to put in the comment section, and then Christian will be here to answer all of those. And here we have our third member, Shirley, to talk to Christian. Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Christian. Yeah, so I run a F&B business, and I started around 5 years ago. Right now, I have about 30 plus people in my company, and for me, I just find the most difficult thing is for me is how to manage people, and because I only I expanded at the beginning of this year, and I feel like everyone's just driving me crazy, and I just don't know what to do. Like, yeah. And then another question I have would be, is it because a lot of people tell me I have to be very careful if I want to enter the China market because everyone's just going to copy my products very quickly. So I'm just worried because I'm in F&B and we specialize in doing a lot of vegan and gluten-free products. So I'm just worried that people might steal our recipe.
So this is a kitchen or this is a restaurant chain?
It's a cake shop, and then I have a central kitchen in Hong Kong.
Yeah. So I come from F&B actually. I've built 100 bakeries roughly in my first life at Movenpick. Wow. A couple of other restaurant concepts, etc. It's tough. It's super tough. So tell you honestly, for China, entry barrier for F&B is low, and everybody tries. And when people that don't have money borrow money from parents and friends to open restaurants and stores in this field. So you're asking for advice?
Yes.
Find a friend and partner in China to team up. Seriously. I think it's super important. I think you need somebody on the ground 27 hours a day, not 24 hours. And somebody who can really keep an eye on what's happening around you, and who can help you expand. And if you can find a friend with money so you can open several stores at the same time, everything, that will be useful. I would rather transfer my know-how to somebody that I can trust than trying it just purely on my own in this industry. In beauty, it will be different.
Okay, thank you.
But it's my personal opinion, so I'm sorry. This is maybe the wrong advice for you, but it's my personal opinion. I would do it.
Okay. Another question is, I mean, for us, everything is like handmade. So what is the best way to scale up and at the same time be profitable? Because it takes a lot of manpower to produce one product right now.
I have a very clear answer for this because I've done this before. So on bakeries, central production. Be religious on your ingredients. Don't be too religious on frozen food, because a lot of people open stores with kitchens and all this because they don't want to freeze. But if you have your own central production and you have great ingredients, you can even use a little bit frozen food into your stores. I think it's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Shirley. Oh, that's
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome back.
So you did F&B before?
I did F&B when I was 12 years old because my parents had a restaurant and I had to wait out on some days when the staff doesn't show up. So
but that was in Germany?
That was in Germany. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
How long have you lived in Hong Kong?
In Asia now, 24 years, 12 years in China.
12 years in China, and then and the rest of the time in Hong Kong?
The rest of the time in Hong Kong and mostly on a plane.
So I do have some questions for you.
Yeah.
So
shoot.
You made Watson's China so successful. Did you make any mistakes in scaling up the business along the way?
Do we really have to talk about this now? So anyway, of course, everybody does mistakes. The problem is when you don't admit it. I think for entrepreneur, the difficult part is to figure out if it's a real mistake or if it's just something that needs more time. Yeah. It's quite interesting. I'm mentoring a CEO in another country that has a network with 5 million MAU, and she was just about to go bankrupt. And she thought that her whole enterprise was a mistake. And because I'm a little bit older, I convinced her to hang in a little bit longer and do everything she can to extend the runway. And I think yesterday a $10 million check arrived. So the question is always, right, is something a mistake because you're in it, you can't see? Or is it just a situation that will go over, yeah, that you can handle? For this, I do believe actually mentoring is good because a lot of what this young lady was going through, I went through. So I'm distracting you from my mistakes, but now I come to my own mistakes. I did a lot of wrong launches on products, failures, despite the homework. And it was that I got emotionally attached to the product. I liked it and I pushed it, but I'm not the customer. So in the beginning, there was a big mistake. What I did was I really recruited a good product team and I learned to listen. Even older people can learn to listen. So I did that and that helped. Another one was, and maybe for young founders with investors, I thought in our company we had to innovate a lot more. So in 2013, my thinking already was we should become Mary Kay. So instead of having stores, we have hundreds of thousands of people in China. We have some app or some computer system to run these people. So we don't have to open stores because it's much faster to grow recruiting people than opening stores all the time. And I couldn't get it past the shareholders. And until today, I feel that's sad. And I was fighting, and I always thought I could maybe, I don't know, just tried it without telling them. And maybe it's always tricky when you handle shareholders because you have to do the right thing for the company, but shareholders also have their opinion, what they want and what they don't want. And a lot of shareholders just don't want you to try things. So in my case,
not the right timing.
Yeah, I should have thought faster. Then we would be Mary Kay and Watson's in one go. That would be nice.
Wow.
So,
Good insight.
Anyway, get a mentor. Give you somebody who gives you honest reflection on what you're doing. I think this is an advice.
Yeah. So actually, next question is on beauty and health related products, wellness. I think a lot of people are talking about health, wellness, and also beauty.
Becomes all the same now, right?
Yeah. So what is your outlook in the China market? Because I saw a lot of reports about beauty, health, wellness is the big thing. It has been growing very, very fast in the past few years already. And people still foresee a big growth in the future, next 5 to 10 years. So what is your outlook?
So I think the outlook, when you look at China alone, the growth in the next 4 years on health and wellness, beauty together is about 32 billion US dollars. So the growth in China is just bigger than most of these European markets, for example, individually. So what I like to say is this is really relevant for larger companies, so for people with big pockets or for people that really have a product that is unique, that you can replicate it in China without being copied. But I'm also aware that it's easier sometimes when you have a startup or a smaller company to be not in China. To actually be in a market where you can carve out a niche, where you can be close to your business, and you don't have these everyday problems that you have in China and the high cost in China. So now you look at, if you go into e-commerce, just your digital marketing cost is about 40% now. It's crazy. Yeah. Then you have your product, your ingredients need to come in, etc. So together with the product cost, that's 90%. So how can you make money? You still have to pay people. You really have to scale up a lot in order to make money at all. So I really ask people before they go into China, because they get carried away. People get carried away from those 32 billion growth. All you need to do is you get 2% out of the Singapore market. You will make more money for starters, and then you move into China. I'm sorry, this is my opinion. I get a lot of calls from people who want to go to China, and I tell them similar things.
Because it's so competitive.
So
And
competitive, and it's too
costly
expensive.
in marketing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So expensive.
Yeah. And you know what? There's great entrepreneurs in China. There's nothing we need to teach these people anymore. Really. And they have a lot of money because generally they can borrow from the local market. So it's difficult.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. So think about the product. Do something unique. Build image outside China is important. Once you have build an image outside China, which is cheaper, going into China cross-border is an alternative.
This is very true. This is very true. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Christian, for your time.
Thank you.
And so, hello, FPW members. Remember to register and become a member of FPW, because you have all these inspiring mentors and leaders answering your questions and sharing their experience with you on how to grow your business. Thank you, and see you in our next live stream.